May 4th. This is wxlive.us webinar, and we have Wolfgang Kirsch this morning, followed by Bob Bruce. And but we're going to have a few words here with Glenn Rathke. He's excited to share something. So Glenn, go ahead.
Well, good morning. I just wanted to let those folks who aren't aware of the training that we offered. We've just actually launched another training course, and that's a streaming video course. And that builds upon our self-study course, which has been overwhelmingly successful. And we've taken the manual and the examples, and the manual's in PDF form, and it's over 300 pages covering all the examples that we have. And the examples are real-world data access with a multitude of other things in there, but primarily every which way that you could slice and dice data, retrieving it back to the screen, stored procedures, queries, H-filters, SQL queries. And the new course steps through the examples using the streaming video. And like I said, it's over 11 hours of that. And for those of you who have taken the class, there's an upgrade path for that, and those who just like to purchase it outright. And for a limited time, you'll be receiving 1 year of free updates. And that's for both the self-study course and the streaming video. So hope you take advantage of it, because I think there's some really good examples in there. Particularly, we have a query by example, QBE, that you can pretty much just use in your application as it is. Put the form in there and you're pretty good to go. You set 3 variables, 4 variables, and it works nicely. We also have dynamic business rules, which really is cool because you can link business rules to a specific field in a table from the analysis. It is not bound to a control. So with 1 line of code, no matter what maintenance form you're on, it will validate every field that is, or every control that's tied to that particular field. So that's really just a fast thing that we've got with the introduction of the class. But if you want to check out at www.sdcdev.net, and there is a link there to the brochure that you can take a look at.
Okay, that's great, Glenn.
Thanks.
Hey, one of the things that I wanted to mention was there's a guy from the clearing community that actually, I guess he ordered your class or something?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and this is what he said. Basically, he's thrilled about it. So.
I appreciate you posting that. I wasn't going to mention that, but if you do want to see what people are saying, we have a testimonials page on sdcdev.net, and people have been quite thrilled with this. A lot of clearing developers are thinking of moving over or have moved over, and they're liking the class also. Thanks.
Okay. So we're gonna, yep, I'm gonna hide this, guys, and up Wolfgang. Thanks for your patience for waiting. Like full blow here. How's that? Can everybody see that now? All right.
Good.
Okay.
Is everybody seeing my WINDEV 17
yeah. Should
window?
I put your thing back up? Basically, he's going to talk about loopers, and this all started out when we were talking, and it wasn't going to be loopers that he was going to talk about. He was going to talk. We were going to talk about something else, and he says, "I'm going to just do loopers." So here you go. And this is a cool thing. You can ask Glenn.
Thank you. Yep. Well, talking about Glenn stuff, I must also recommend his stuff. His book, I went for the book, and I must say, it's really a well thought out publication he made there, even if you just go for the book.
And it also includes the examples too, doesn't it? Did you use those?
Yep. Okay. Some good stuff
okay.
there.
It's all yours.
Okay, let's get into. Thank you very much. I'm going to just talk about loopers, and the reason why I would like to just talk about there's quite a few things in loopers which makes it quite nice. And the idea behind it is, I think loopers started. I think Ben was the one who mentioned to me that loopers was actually developed more for web application kind of things, and it was kind of ported back to WINDEV. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but that's one of the reasons which appeals to me in web applications. You seem to have like an invoice header and with invoice lines, and every time you click a little piece at the bottom, it just adds another line in at the bottom, which is quite nice. So what I would like to talk about is that loopers is like a table, but at the same time it's not. Both of them show data. You can have data from a data source or from WINDEV language, WLanguage variables. Both is capable of addressing data from tables, etc. So you can display it nicely. Both can have data edited in the table and the looper. So at first quick look at it, it looks very much like a table. But the big difference is that loopers is used to repeat controls found in a specific area on a window or page, which is very nice, which kind of opens up a bit more capabilities. If you look at over here, I've got entry fields and I've got a drop-down list, and I've got buttons and I've got tick boxes, etc., which to a certain extent tables you can have maybe a drop down within it, etc., but you don't have the capability of laying it out the way you want it and put buttons in that. So you can put practically anything in a looper which you would do in a normal window, and define it at that level, which is very nice. The reason why I was looking at the looper is I wanted to get that same look and feel like a web page does, and also move away what I call the usual, like a Clarion way of doing things, insert, change, delete kind of thing, and going to a form. It's kind of a two-level page which bounces around. I wanted something which is kind of simple and it's one screen, yet it's basically a browse form kind of thing. And got all the other capabilities as a form, which is very nice. It's like a table. You can do multiple entries, etc., but it's got just the functionality of a form also, which I think a table you cannot really do. You can't really put buttons on it and hide buttons, unhide buttons as you feel like it. Let me run through this application. Yes?
How do you add one? Is there an add button?
On the looper?
Yeah.
No, what you do is you drop down the looper on the form over here, and then you add in the different controls as you want, like any form.
Okay.
Okay. If you look at inside the looper.
Well, maybe if you run it, then I can tell what it is. But
okay.
I can't see how you add one. I don't see an add button. I just see, previous, next, cancel, okay down below, and then.
Okay. I'm just trying to get the right entry here. I just want to show you. Over here, then you end up allocating all those, just like if you would group something or something into a group.
Almost looks like a super control, huh?
It's like a super control, and then you end up putting all the bits and pieces in there. The things that I found later on, I'll come to it, is there's a little bit of few gotchas which I didn't at first get a hold of, but as we went down the line and the group helped on Skype to fathom that out. But let me just run this quickly.
I guess the looper is kind of a container, isn't it?
Yep. Okay, I'm just gonna put any data in here.
I mean, you usually see that in a like an e-commerce type of shopping cart or.
Yeah. What I've done here, it's a little expense tracking program which we wrote particularly for small businesses, because there's a little motto amongst some of our small business guys that you're not big business, so we do it the small business way, and we're trying to keep things simple. And this is one of the little programs which we wrote to make it simple. So the idea behind it, you just capture receipt onto the system, that it's also as a document, which makes it very easy to then follow up and see if the data is correctly entered. And you can zoom in and do whatever, but that's not the point of this speech. And then you can say who you bought it from. Let's say we got this from Skype. You can put the reference number, and you could put in the amount of the value. Ah, gee whiz. Let's kill that. Let me just kill this Skype quickly. Just give me a sec. Okay. So you put in the reference and you put your tax amount, 20% tax, and you can put what tax period it falls into, and you say next. And that's where the looper comes into the picture, which is very nice. It looks like a simple form over here. You say what the kind of a category is. So it's communications, and it's £10, and the VAT is 20%, etc. But say example, it's a receipt which is more than one kind of expense category. All you do is you click the expense button, but watch here, this is dimmed out here, and as I click split the expense, it adds in and then unhides. I can hide the expense over here and unhide it on the last loop, and then unhide that. It was grayed out, and now it's fully acceptable that you can click on it. Now, if I click on that, it then shrinks down again, and then it grays out this one because I don't want him to delete the last form. Which is quite nice, and you just add in and add in.
Okay,
so it automatically does that for you.
So that split is the add button. So I got it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So what it does is basically now you can split it up and then do the rest of the story. What's nice about it, which table can't do, is do this kind of functionality where you can hide individual buttons, etc. There's also another way of doing it. There's two ways of, I'll show you. If you do it one way, it will hide all the same items all the way down. So if you say delete button, gray it out, it will gray it out all the way. But if you say gray out using a subscript, it will do the subscript on that particular row, and it will then gray that one out, which in this case, it hid the split expense button, which is there, but you can't see it because I hid it away. And also, when you click here, you can then work with each individual one as if it's an individual form without really worrying about each different row, how to handle it. And that's quite easy to be done. Let me just cancel out of that and show you, go back to the... Now, the way to do it is basically you can put in all these things as if it's just like a normal control on the display on a window. So you do all the program as you would do any other time. Like example, this item, we did say, okay, if it's billable, then hide that and unhide that. So you can then address any particular piece of that information in that looper, in that row. The trick comes in where a bit of a got you is that in the beginning stages, when we started working with it, we quickly learned that inside a looper, when you return, like example, if you do another section of the form, like example, a normal form, you would then say something like price plus tax amount equals total. If it's not, then it's something wrong, and it will automatically give you the values. So just to give you an idea, example, that is, you would just use edit for amount, etc., like that, which is fine. But when you inside the looper, going the wrong way, if you do something like that, it would not work really well if you outside it. But if you're editing on the form itself, it's fine. But if you want to do, I hope I'm not making sure, I'm sure I'm not making sense now, but what I'm trying to do is, if you are coding inside in each of these, you just address it as if it's a normal and any other entry on the form, on the window. So you can say price times that and that. But if you're doing some other coding, which is like inside the looper, for example, where we do the receipt completed, Let me just get to that. Get it on, I don't know. The wrong one. Now, example, if you want to then check each row in the looper, you would use something like that for all rows of loop expense. Then you go through the loop, checking each one. Then, unfortunately, then to address it by using this method over here, which I did originally, loop expense dot the edit control, using the subscript, which tells you which row you're looking at, and then you say if it's not equals to that, then show and kick up a fuss saying that you haven't got it equal. But the problem is that the looper doesn't return it as if you in a normal window. It returns everything as a string for some reason. So one of the two things you have to do is then either encase this in a val by doing this. If you wanted to do it the shortcut method without defining attributes, then you would do this. Okay.
So that converts
then it will
a
work.
string. It converts the string to a value, and then you can do your math. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So that is the one way you can address each one, but unfortunately that section it just returns a string. Another way, I can't remember who in the chat channel said to me that the way to go about it is to add attributes, and the attributes will return the correct value. So if it's an integer, it will return as an integer. If it's a string, it will return as a string. So it will return it as what is declared as, where this one always comes back as a string for some reason.
Which one is preferable?
I think if you have fields which just got string, I think just using this one is fine. Whereas if you wanted to have to work with monetary values, I'm a bit wary because I've been caught out by WINDEV a few places where it tends, where WINDEV tends to convert everything somewhere via a real, and the real is not very accurate. And I found that it sometimes it's a kind of a gotcha. I haven't gone into that trouble to see how much truth is in that on this one over here, but I said to myself, let's avoid that issue totally and just add an attribute in and then work on the attributes, which is nice also, which is just a shorter code than this long piece of code over here.
Can I ask a question?
So that's the way I would go.
So if you
go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. So if you
turn your mic down a little bit, Glenn. Okay.
If you want to reference, say, the color of a field or the text or the font or something, then am I understanding that you need to create an attribute for each of those?
Yes, that's where I'm coming to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's my next step.
Oh, okay.
No problem. You're just jumping over the head, but it's fine.
That's a nice lead up here.
Perfect lead. So what happens is the attribute I would go for, and the way to put in the attribute is kind of straightforward. Let me just go back to the over here. All you do is you go in here, right click and distribute the description, and then you define it over here. So practically if you go to the end here and you just say new and adds another one, and you choose which one of those you want to actually put an attribute on. So if you want to do a color, you drop down and you choose, say, example, billable reference example, and you choose which of the attributes you want to use. So you can change your color, you can change your background color, the state, the visibility, the tooltip, and etc. So in this case, you want to have a color change, so you do that. So I would then put something like that here, bill ref underscore color. Oopsie. Color.
Wow, so a looper takes a lot more work, doesn't it?
Slightly, but at the same time, not really. It just makes it easier from a point of view to know what you're working with.
Okay.
At the beginning, I thought, oh, it's kind of a bit of a backwards way, but once you get the idea of it, it's actually nicer than the other way. So and you just add it in like that. And obviously, if you don't want it anymore, you just highlight it and delete it out of the equation. So in this case over here, what I've done is we just put all the values in, the ones that I wanted to put in. The things you don't reference or you don't want to change, you don't have to put an attribute in. You just put the attributes in which you want to change, or change colors, or whatever the case is, or gray out, or visibility status. You put in on all of them.
So can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
So basically in the looper, I dropped all the controls in that container, and they show up in this whatever order, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then
you can also change the tab order. All you do is you drag it like normal onto the screen from your button or whatever, drop it in where you want, or line it up the way you want it.
Okay.
And then automatically it does the rest for you.
Okay.
And then puts it in here also.
So that's just to help describe it further. Okay. Got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you just add in all the things you want over here, like if you want to do a state, you put a state and etc. Okay. There you go. Once you've done that, it's quite easy. Then you can go ahead. If you are just doing calculations on this particular form, dress it as just like any other form by using the edit control itself. No problem. The only time when you get a catch got you is when you're actually looping through all the records and then checking if each one of these records which you've entered is correct. What I've done here is used the looper as a memory table, nearly like an old Clarion queue.
Really?
I'm not linking.
What a good idea.
I'm not linking. If you go and look at it, if you look here, you tend to link it to the database. As you see, I have not linked this to the database. The way I do it, I literally go to my database. Where's a receipt one? And I take that. No, I've got that one already. Let's take one which is not on the list here. Let's take that one. And I'll drop it there. It's on that. Okay, it's a bit big.
You took a
but I'm not gonna, but it's on there. What I'll do is I go then and I delink it. Because now I've got what I want. Then it becomes a memory table. Then I delink it. Otherwise, it immediately updates into the database. The idea behind it is like any invoice with the line items. You don't want to commit the line items if somebody cancels out of the deal. You follow?
Oh, so okay, so you dragged it in there just to create the edit control, but you disconnected it from the database, so it doesn't update the database. Okay.
I just so it doesn't update our database. So I've literally dragged and dropped all these amounts because it's really defined my dictionary. Well, not the dictionary, the analyst. What the fields are going to be and the prompts and etc. So just drag it on, drop it there, and then delink it. Then what happens is it will. What I've done is then in here when I say the next button, I say okay. When the expense is completed, we're going to do all the necessary stuff to update it. So what I do is I check each of the rows. Is it happy with it? And once it's happy, then I go to the loop expense total. I total it up, and then I go and save the whole bank shooty. The way I do that is save the receipt details, and there we go. And all I do is in screen to file, that's a receipt header, I add it in, and then for all the rows, I end up just adding it back in here. Somebody said to me, I don't really need to do each line like that. I could maybe use a file, screen to file, but I haven't tried that out. What's that one called? Screen to file. Yeah, that's right. Screen to file here, but I haven't tried that. I coded it each row as it loops through. It then assigns it into my database, and I add in the expense.
Well, if you did screen to file, doesn't it need to know what the link is, or is that set somewhere?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I haven't tried it. I was going to still threaten to do it, but this whole week I ended up getting caught up with other issues.
Because you de-link the thing, so there's no connection anymore, right?
That's right. That's the reason why I have to add it manually in myself and assign the links back in again.
Plus that you're rolling through the whole queue of them.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So what happens is the receipt header gets put in together with all the expense lines. So you get a total commit in one shot. So you don't have maybe half the database and the other half is not there.
Cool.
Just like an invoice.
So
once everything is happy, then it gets committed. And that's my workaround to as virtually as close as nearly to a memory queue for as in Clarion. What I tend to do is I create this and I just delink it and then it becomes a memory table, like a queue.
That's fantastic.
The other trick you can do is if you don't want to see a queue or you want to create another way is to create a table and just drag it off the window, then it becomes also like a queue you can access.
Chris says in Skype, he says, is there a way or command to set the active looper record?
Yes. I must try and remember it now.
Yes. Did you want to know how?
Yeah. It's called subscript. Let me just go to it. It's been completed. Here we go through it, but there is one which I'm just trying to remember what it was called again. It's Looper Select, I think it is. I can't remember. You got me now there.
I think it's Looper Select Plus.
Yes, that's it. Select Plus. I knew something like that, but I wasn't too sure because something in the back of my head said there was something more to it.
Well, that's why
I found it quite weird. Yeah. I remember something like that, but I couldn't remember exactly. Like I say, I've only been kind of busy with this since January, so.
I think you did a really great job with this looper because they're a difficult thing to teach.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah,
no excuses,
glad, man. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
Okay, and that's basically
wants to be here.
in a nutshell. No, I hope it's added some value to how a looper can make your program look just a little better in the sense that the table browse a whole a table form kind of thing. You can move away from it and make something like this, which is kind of nifty.
So
is there any other question?
Yeah. Okay. Say you wanted to like almost do a commit at the end with that OK, right? But if I wanted to like save them along the way, I would have left it connected or what?
That's it. Then I wouldn't delink it. You would then leave all the links in place. Then I'll make sure my database is linked up.
Okay.
Then as you add it in, it will automatically add it in, which is quite well. It does it quite well actually.
So I would have like an OK button on each one or save button on each looper. So I would have like an add, a delete, and a save.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
This works. The point about this thing is you can make it the form come like a table. So whatever you do in a normal table where you would say insert, change, delete kind of thing, you would then put it over here if you want to, or somewhere like I did. It's just like delete and split the expense. This is actually the add button, and this is the delete button. The change button you don't really need because as you highlight each section, it automatically goes into the change mode for that particular record. Okay, so you wouldn't have a change button as such. You would have the delete button and the add button basically.
Okay. There's no other questions.
Follow what I mean.
I noticed you use planes a lot, though. You just go from one plane to the next plane, rather than different. You know.
The reason why I did it is this one is because of the scanning in and then tying up this document to the rest of this.
They're all connected somehow, right?
Yeah, I found that if you don't have a separate scan and you have to attach it and all that kind of thing, it just makes it easier for the end user.
Oh,
I wanted like a four-step process.
Together, then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, cool. I got to rethink some of my stuff with this. Alrighty.
Because what I could have had as a table here, but I found the table just kind of went out of place with the wizard kind of concept, because you didn't want another screen popping up all over the wizard. You wanted everything inside the wizard.
Yeah.
As far as I wanted it. And to do it this way, you don't have a form popping up. And also you don't have the problem of the guy having to realize that, oh, I must click the insert button to get expense in. It's already there, waiting for him to fill in.
Wolfgang, thanks again for sharing. I mean, you pop up with all these little tidbits of stuff, so keep coming up with ideas to share, man. You did a great job.
No problem.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.